Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is titled, I Thought I Knew God Until I Met the Man Who Changed Everything. It's one of the most intense stories we've ever received, and I hope it encourages you and reminds you that God has not given up on you. Before we dive in, if you are new here and you'd like to subscribe, we would love to have you join this family. Also, please keep our team in prayer as we're navigating some major changes in our season. We really feel God's leading us into new territory, and we want to walk that out in faith. So thank you for covering us in prayer. Without further ado, let's dive into today's story. I thought I knew God. Let's go back to before I knew Jesus. I grew up going to church, so I knew what people expected of a Christian. Church every Sunday, worship team. I even led a small group. I said all the right things. I acted like a Christian. But only God knew my heart. I was fake. I knew how to blend in, how to say God is good even when I felt nothing. My prayers were rehearsed. My smile was practiced. Inside, I was drowning. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't wild. I wasn't rebellious. I was just fake. I struggled with guilt from things no one knew about. I questioned God's love. I wrestled with shame. And I pretended to be strong in the Lord, while quietly asking if he even listened. I worked for approval, from people, from God, from myself. But I never truly rested. I never truly loved him, because I never truly knew him. When I heard other believers talk about their relationship with God, it sounded beautiful. I wanted that. But every time I tried to get there, I just ended up on my knees reciting a prayer that I'd memorized years ago. I'd ask God to forgive me of my sin, but I didn't really believe that he did. And that ate away at me. When I was around 18 years old, I began attending a different church. It was big. I liked the music. I liked the message. And for the first time, I felt like I actually fit in. I joined the worship team. I became a leader in the young adults ministry. I volunteered everywhere. I was respected. I was liked. And I even held leadership positions. But I was still empty. I thought I had it all figured out. Then one day I didn't. I remember standing in the hallway of my apartment building talking on the phone with my mom. It must have been late at night because I remember the neon lights reflecting off the glass doors and the walls. That's all I remember. The next thing I knew, I was lying on a table in an ambulance. My body was freezing cold, but I couldn't move. I tried to speak, but I couldn't make a sound. I vaguely remember my mom screaming. Then everything went black. I found out later that I had fallen backwards off of a flight of stairs. I cracked my head open and was bleeding internally. I spent 2 weeks in a medically induced coma. The doctors removed a part of my skull to relieve pressure on my brain. I was in intensive care fighting for my life. 1 minute I was in the ambulance struggling to breathe. The next, I was somewhere I'd never been before. And there, standing in front of me, was a man. He wasn't glowing. He wasn't floating. Just a man. But the way he looked at me, like he'd known me forever, I knew instantly. This was Jesus. He reached out, took my hand, and led me to a field full of wildflowers. They were the most beautiful flowers I'd ever seen. The sky above me was filled with clouds that shifted and moved like waves crashing into the shore. There was a gentle breeze, and the grass bent with it, creating a peaceful wave pattern that stretched as far as I could see. Then he turned to me and said, "Why did you call me Lord, but never let me lead?" I broke. Tears I didn't even know I was holding came pouring out. I said, "I thought I knew you." And he replied, not with anger, but with kindness. "You knew my name, but not my heart." Then he placed his hand on mine. It was warm and tingly. I remember thinking, this is what heaven feels like. And he said, "But I've always known yours, and I'm not done with you yet." The next moment, gasping for air, I woke up in the hospital bed. My mom was there along with several of my friends from church. They were all crying, hugging her. I don't remember much after that. But something had shifted. I no longer saw the world in shades of gray. Colors were brighter. The sky was full of wonder. And I heard birds chirping outside my window where before there was nothing but traffic. I was released from the hospital a few days later, but I'd never be the same. Since that day, I've stopped pretending. I don't chase perfection, I chase presence. I meet with Jesus like I'd meet with a friend. I read the word like it's a letter written to me because it is. I don't serve to be seen, I serve because I'm loved. And that anxiety, that guilt, that emptiness, He's been healing it, day by day. I am no longer just a believer. I'm a follower, because I met the man, and He changed everything. Thank you so much for watching today's story. If you've been performing or pretending or just barely surviving, I hope this story gives you permission to stop. Jesus isn't a distant idea, He's a real person, and He's waiting for you, not to impress Him, but to know Him. If you're ready to stop faking it and finally surrender, comment below, "Jesus, lead my life," and subscribe for more true stories of real people, real grace, and a real God. He's closer than you think, and He's calling your name. Until next time, take care.